How you doing, guys? Once again, it is the Prepper Trifecta with myself, Eric, and Che from Prepper Logic channel. So welcome, welcome. I'm going to detach the chat here. As always, if you have a question, put it in all caps. There's probably nobody here yet. But when you get a question, put it in all caps. We've got 2 watching now.
Cool. 2.
Hardcore
fans.
Yeah, they got to realize.
They're like,
yeah, it's instantaneous.
Got the bell notification, like,
right,
dropping
bam.
what I'm doing and checking this
right.
out.
The literal drop food.
Awesome.
What's up, everybody? What's up? What's up?
Put it in the fridge.
Yeah, getting in here pretty quick. So we have JJ's actually got an email from him just now. He said he might be showing up later. He's
Okay.
wrapped up in a project still, but he might drop in.
Cool.
So that's all. To see what he's up to, hopefully. Evil Blonde is here. Mark Olson.
There we go.
Trifecta. Outrageous.
Evil
Yeah,
Blonde,
it's been the trifecta with 2 people for a few
yeah.
weeks here.
Yeah, the bifecta just doesn't work for me.
No, this isn't working.
It's not good.
Yep, not doing it. Beer first. That's just water for me today.
We get a bunch of guys in semi-leather from Germany showing up. We call it the bifecta. Wouldn't be
Yeah, exactly.
domination gear.
Like Club Vandersex.
Yeah. So how are you, Eric?
I'm good, man. I'm good. It's been busy as usual, but a lot of interesting stuff happening in the world. Nothing that would change my opinion that we could be in for some interesting times over the next few months. So.
Mm-hmm.
But also with the coronavirus, I have felt like there's been a little bit, especially with Trump, basically an overweight 73, 74-year-old man shaking it off like it was nothing. I think kind of snapped a lot of people out of it, or hopefully did anyways, as to the real risk for most, even Chris Christie. Like he had more serious, he's just morbidly obese, with health complications, and even he recovered with no real issues. He was more serious health for a while than Trump was, but Evil
Do you think that's going to affect his? Yeah. What's Evil? Well, let's drop what we're doing. What does Evil Blonde say?
Right. No, she just said I heard there were mole people living under the strip in Vegas. Well, it's not directly under the strip, but there are like aqueduct tunnels for flooding because it doesn't ever rain here. But when it does rain, the water doesn't have anywhere to go, so there has like flooding issues. So they have these tunnels, and that are dry most of the time. And yeah, hobos live in there.
762. How is Trump looking in Nevada?
Yeah, he's out in Carson City right now, if I'm not mistaken. So he's getting good crowds out there. He went to a church here in somewhere near Vegas earlier today.
Cool. Do you think the hospital visit and him, jumping out after a few days and saying everything's fine, I'm over it, do you think that's going to hurt affect the pulse in any way?
No, I think it'll help him, honestly. I think getting it at all, I don't see how it would hurt him. I think the worse health he got, the more it would help him, honestly, from like a sympathy vote standpoint. The only people who would see it as a negative are the people who are like, oh, see, you didn't take it seriously, and now you got what's coming to you. And I don't really see most of those people as being Trump supporters anyway. Mm-hmm. So I don't think it hurts him at all. It kind of gives him a little bit more credibility when talking about it. Also shows that it isn't really that big of a deal. If you're an overweight 70-plus-year-old man gets it and is basically working at half capacity for 2 days and then right back at it, So
yeah, I see Rizza Jizza. I don't know. It's a Wu-Tang Clan name thing.
It's got to be.
I know him quite well, actually, and we're doing something in a little bit. You guys have to stay tuned, and he would be a contender, in my opinion, here.
Okay,
as far as
on.
That's if you wanted to participate. So stick around. I'm just going to call you Bizza because I feel like part of the Bloods of the Crips
or BRG.
You're BRG notorious.
Yeah.
16 days till the chaos kicks off. Okay.
Election.
And that's as a Canadian, it's very interesting for me to see just watching this as a spectator. I'm sure there some people in Europe or countries in Europe, they're looking, eating popcorn, watching how this whole election thing is unraveling, and it's just like there's only like cars are going to get flipped. Whatever happens, there's going to be a large amounts of people that are going to be pissed off at flipping cars.
Yep.
Am I wrong?
No, that's what we've all been talking about for a few weeks, months, and I definitely expect that to be the case. I think it will be I don't know, because I think it'll be the same group of people causing problems either way. But like I mentioned, it'll be a riot of anger or of like just celebration / rubbing it in their faces if they win. So
very, very odd way to celebrate through destruction of property. We're so
it'll be like a sore winner. Is not so much happy, but like that now is their chance to take it out on the people that they've viewed as ruining the country, ruining their lives for the past however long.
Yeah.
They'll feel emboldened by it. You know what I mean? Feel like they're back in charge, kind of thing.
Yeah. It's I might stay up that night to see what happens. That's for sure. Yeah. Whatever happens, burn, loot, and murder will. That comes from Alkman something.
Assuming it's reference to the BLM.
The BLM. Yeah. I guess. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, Keisha said Trump has no respect for due process. He said so himself. Take the gun first, go through due process second. Now he's repeating it on his campaign website. Yeah, I've mentioned before, years ago, right after Trump win, that he is a pragmatist. He's not like an idealist, even on the things that we wish he was on. So I always said he was going to do some stuff that we wouldn't like, you know what I mean? Because he's fairly authoritarian. He's a moderate pragmatist for the most part. He's not hardcore right wing. He's not like super sold on all these ideas, So he was like the bump stock ban, like that was a meaningless concession. I wasn't happy about that. He doesn't have any problem with government using its power to do the things that he wants to do, that sort of stuff. So, and I always knew that, and I'd always said that, and that's, so far he's been very good on most things and hasn't done anything really bad, but that's always been the case. He never was like a true libertarian or anything like that.
Sure, fair. You made a video 3 weeks ago or so on your prediction of the U.S. election outcome. Do you think what's happened in recent weeks, we already talked to him about him getting sick and whatnot, but just that sort of in combination with everything else, has that shifted or changed your perspective on what you believe when what that the original video suggested?
No, not the outcome. If anything,
Trump was going to win.
Yeah, if anything, I think it's bolstered the fact that he's going to win, especially with all the crazy stuff that's happened with the Hunter Biden laptop in the past, 48 hours or whatever, and it's certainly likely to come out over the next 2 weeks. So I definitely think his chances have even gone up in this week, and will continue to do so.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm still predicting somewhere in the range of 216 to 240 plus electoral votes.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I don't see any reason to think he'll lose any state that he won in 2016, and I see reason to believe that he will pick up a couple others. So we'll see.
A lot of advanced voting, from what I'm hearing. And
yeah, very interesting.
So the process is very slow, from what I hear too. People are lining up for hours to put a vote in. Yeah, it's going to be a very historical November, that's for sure. Something like we've never seen before. And there's mixed feelings, I think, from all sides. People are pissed off with the virus. Democrats are trying to, correlate parts of the lockdowns or things that are infringing on personal rights of people, and trying to correlate that with Trump. There's just this wide variety of things that are happening right now. Eric, do you want to talk about the idea that I had for tonight?
Yeah, absolutely. Go for it.
Okay.
I'm open.
Okay, so I feel like second best to Eric all the time. We're on here, and it's like, man, all the chicks are talking about Eric, so we got to bring somebody else in. And I've been meaning to communicate with people and get some guests. So I actually have some really, really good guests through a few different networks I'm associated with, and I just haven't had the time to communicate and bring them into the show. There's a couple people in the works. However, I was thinking tonight, maybe we could get somebody from the audience to come on. A very simple process. I'll send you a link, and I'll give you my email in a second. and you just have to download Zoom. It's a free app. It's very popular. You guys should be aware of it. Most of you should be.
Yeah, most people might have it already.
Most people have it. You put in the link, and you can remain anonymous too. There's a one key thing is there's an option when you're on Zoom before you go live.
Your mic is like, sorry, your mic is like sliding around or something a lot and causing a lot. Something's
like
rubbing
right
on
second?
it. It was, yeah. I couldn't tell what was happening. There was a lot of interference.
There we go.
There we go. That's better. Yeah, it's much better.
There's an option for people to just come in with audio only. So if somebody maybe wants to come on live on the air tonight, the next 15 minutes, they have the option to do so. I'm not just going to choose anybody. It's going to be a name that I or Eric recognizes in the chat. And so Biza, you know, if you're afraid
Colorado biker prepper. He's been there for a while.
Yep.
We come to many of our live streams.
Yeah. Or any other number of people here that I see in the chat window. And if you just want to come on and shoot the shit, I think that'd be cool. And you can face to face.
I mean, he actually just said, "I'll come on." So that's what I was mentioning him.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, what do you think?
I'm up for it. Yeah, go for it.
Okay.
It's up to you. Yeah. We'll cap it. We'll start with like a 10-minute.
Yeah, we'll give it a cap because you know, it's one thing to be on a chat. I think we're on Facebook as well, Colorado Biker. But quite frankly, you could be a psycho or weird.
Exactly. You know? Or just be really ugly and mess up our chances with all the women.
Yeah, well, that's okay because I need somebody. You know, I got to get in the game here. At least if somebody's uglier than me, then you know,
right on.
It'd be better. Colorado Biker, send me an email to info@ontariopreppers.ca. That's info@ontariopreppers.ca.
And if you could bring a particular, sorry, go ahead, finish.
In that email, put in a code, a phrase, and I'm gonna read back 3 different words, and one of those is going to be the correct phrase that you gave me. So it could be like, I don't know, blue chapel, or it could be red bishop, or it could be orange, I don't know, cup, whatever you want. And you're going to say yes in the chat, and that way I'll know it's you. And I'll send you the link because we can't be just sending these random links out.
Any email you get.
Yeah, I'm probably going to get 5 emails from 5 different, people claiming to be Colorado Biker prepper. So I got to make sure I get the right person. So
that works. You do have
a.
Sorry, I didn't think I have a delay or something.
Oh, it's good, man.
I keep interrupting you. I was just gonna say, if you have for Colorado Biker Prepper, if you have a specific topic that you'd like to talk about for a few minutes, that'd probably help too. Come on, so we have.
Interesting. Yes, this is a precedent-setting moment, and I agree. Sure, if you got a topic and want to shoot the shit, this is awesome. And if it works, maybe we'll do this every week for like a 10-minute segment.
Right. Brings people in.
Just bring on, and like I said, you can be anonymous. There's an option before going live. You can just do audio only, or go all freaky.
Or dress up
like a gangster like me, with a stupid toque. And wear a mask. There you go. That would be freaky, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
We get somebody from the inside, like, we're the government. Trump is planning to, blah, 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 blah.
He's gonna release the alien information.
Yeah, November 3rd. It's all rigged. Yeah, that would be actually cool because, quite frankly, like 10% of preppers are psycho. So it'd be nice to have one of those on once in a while too, just for pure entertainment value.
Yeah, exactly. Why not?
So info@OntarioPreppers. I haven't got anything. It was .ca, not .com.
And Evil Blonde says the no psycho criteria rules her out, obviously.
Yeah, right. That's hilarious. Good evening, Eric and Shay. Awesome guys. Thank you, Brian. This is your #1 fan here. Is this the guy that gives you money every week, Eric?
Yeah.
How did you do that?
How did I get actual people to like me? I don't know, man. Maybe I'll share my secrets with you sometime.
Yeah. No. This guy specifically, he's like, I've got a couple fans like that, but this guy's dedicated. It's awesome.
It's been great.
Hey, Brian.
Been here for a while.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, he has been. Nice to see you, Mark. Of course, Evil Blonde as well. There's a lot of familiar
Yep,
names.
a couple first timers too, I believe.
Colorado Biker, I haven't got your response. I'm going to give you 5 minutes to send me that email. And if not, we're going to open the tables to someone.
Just said email sent, so should be doing good. What's up, MJ? So yeah, so for people who just rolled up, we're going to experiment with something we're talking about. We're bringing people from the viewers from the chat who are interested in jumping on the live stream for maybe 10 minutes at a time to start with, and maybe we'll make it a regular thing if it works out well. So
I got nothing. Why don't you send it to Eric? Give yourself a plug, man.
So just
People want to get in touch with you.
Yeah, you could try to rule the wasteland at gmail.com too, if that
Got
works.
it. All right.
Not mess with this weird Canadian internet.
I'm gonna
just send it to rulethewasteland at gmail.com.
I got him. Got it.
Oh, you got it? Okay.
Yeah, just got it. We were mentioning that. And he didn't give me a passphrase. So
well, let's just assume that that's him for the time being. If it's someone else, I'll kick him off.
There you go.
I do have the ability to kick him off the.
Yeah, just so you know, Colorado Biker, we can well, that's okay. Just reading his email and everything, like I'm pretty sure we got the right guy.
Right on.
All right, Mr. Colorado Biker. There we go. We've got your Zoom link. It's sent. If you got any questions for me down the road or Eric, we got our emails. Feel free to get in touch. And Jives, this is a precedent-setting money. I've never met him in person. Eric, I don't think you have.
No,
this is
not in person. No.
This is some guy, some prepper, doesn't have a channel. It's just like the rest of the crew here. So
just been a regular commenter, chimed in with some decent interactions on the chat. So
yeah, so it's gonna be.
So here we have a question. Che, would you go willingly to the COVID concentration camp if you were infected?
Oh, geez, good. Yeah. Well, it depends what the camp is like, I suppose.
Yeah.
No, I don't think I would, because that would, I don't know. I'd have to talk to some nurses that I know and get their opinion on, like.
Depends on what the cafeteria is like at the internment camp.
Yeah, yeah, the food's good. There's way too many criteria, I think.
I think we have the ability to just quarantine in our houses for, 2 weeks or whatever. So there would be no real need to go to the camp, unless we were forced to.
Are they treating you? What type of food? And actually, in all honesty, what type of food is being served? Its nutrition is huge in this game that we call the global pandemic of COVID. And if it does become serious, if miraculously you get reinfected 2, 3, and the 4th time, more and more people are getting reduced lung capacity or something crazy, batshit crazy thing like that, then there's just too many factors. Would I put the government, trust the government? I don't know. I don't. It's not. And here's the thing: people say as preppers too. They say, "Are you anti-government? Are you anti-system? Are you anti this or anti that?" Some preppers are. Some preppers are shit crazy. They just are. They're just through their paranoia and their conspiracy theories and whatnot. But there are some that do this based on the foundational, like a rational basis. And I just, for the record, I just keep rephrasing. I say this like every 6 months. I'm not anti-government. I'm anti-stupidity.
Right.
And to put myself in a situation where I'm trusting an authority to look after my personal well-being. I mean, if we're being honest, that's why most of us got into preparedness. That's a good reason to get into preparedness, because not preparing is to suggest that I trust that the government is going to take care of me. So let me ask you something. Do you? Well, not you, Eric, specifically. I just mean like in general.
No, yeah, I understand. Yeah, because I'm honestly not overtly anti-government. I'm anti-government overreach and authoritarian government.
Yes.
For sure. But yeah, there's some people who are just literally just anti-government, like Timothy McVeigh types, I guess.
Thanks for the comments, B. William. I've got this jacket. I don't know what's going on here.
Yeah, I think something that's rubbing on something and just popping a lot.
There we go. All right. New headphones. I don't know if that makes a difference. Actually, let me move this. microphone up a bit. So you're going to join me in, oh, that's cool.
Here's a question from Gregory Thompson. Do you see any major shit the fan happening in your area after the elections? I don't know about major. I definitely see an increase in the minor civil unrest that we've had here in Vegas. There was just someone parked in front of or driving on the strip with an American flag on their truck last week, and someone there's video of that, and they tried to beat him up and stuff. So yeah, for everyone asking, this isn't overtly supposed to be a Boogaloo shirt or anything. I like Hawaiian shirts. I'm not trying to make a statement. I have nothing against the Hawaiian shirt aesthetic.
I'll read something out if you don't mind.
Yeah, go for it.
Take me a second to load it up here and find it, but I've got an email from somebody brand new to one of my local networks here in Ontario, concerned about a financial collapse and starting or connecting with an anonymous survival group. And of course, I've got to log in and go through all this slow internet connection stuff to get to what she had to say. But while that's loading, what's your take on groups, Eric? Over the years, I've been
always
privy to some
I've always kind of looked at them longingly as a great thing to have if you can do it right, but something that's incredibly difficult to do right. Hey, it looks like we got Colorado Biker Prepper present. How you doing? Can you hear us? I'm not sure if you can hear our audio. You have your audio turned on?
There's a button that says connect to audio, play with audio, something like that.
Yeah, if you can't hear, it might say play with audio.
Right.
I don't think you can hear us. Can you hear us?
There we go. Yes.
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can. There's a little bit of some interference, like a humming, but yeah, we can hear you. Welcome to the show.
Right, I haven't used Zoom before.
Right on. No, it's pretty much like
a
normal webcam software. So welcome to the show. Appreciate
I use
you.
for my webcam.
Right on.
It's working.
Yeah,
I'm trying to get back to the other stream so that I can kill the audio from the other one. Sorry about that.
No worries.
It's okay.
It took us quite a while to get our setups working too.
Okay.
Yeah, still.
Is that better?
Yeah, that sounds good to me, I think.
All right. So anyway, thank you for having me on. This is good.
No problem.
There we go. All right. How you doing? Good to see you again.
Doing well. Good to see you too. So you're in Colorado, I assume, based on the name?
Yep. Sure am.
I just saw an article about another, was it a wildfire in Colorado or was that in northern Nevada? I'm not sure. It was in Colorado.
No, it's just northwest of Boulder. Actually, I have a cousin that lives fairly close to there.
Okay.
So I may be going up there to give him a hand in the next couple days.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Just in case, because it is starting to move towards it.
Okay.
So, and we've had some really high winds recently, and we're in the middle of a exceptional drought in certain areas of Colorado. So
it's been the same
reason to have a bug out bag.
Exactly. Yeah, it's been the same here. It's been like 170 to 190 days or something without any meaningful precipitation in the Vegas area. So everything's super dry. And yeah, like you said, it's a great real life reason to have a bug out bag. It's not one of those crazy, sexy shit the fan things that everyone thinks about, but look at the past year and how many wildfires have been all over the country.
Oh yeah, California, Colorado, Utah, Montana, Idaho, all over the place.
Yeah, Nevada here up like Mount Charleston, there's big fires. So
yeah, yep. And we've also we have a go bag. Well, we have a go little filing cabinet that we have just prepped with everything in it. Like every 2 weeks, I back up my entire computer onto a 4 terabyte hard drive and put that back in there. And that way, if something does happen, we've got all of our important documentation, everything we need in there. We got a couple $100 extra in there in cash, just in case we have to leave because of a wildfire. We're out. All we got to do is grab our go bags, and we can go.
That's smart for sure.
Well, and when you live in the woods, I live in the woods. I live at about 9,600 feet, about 50 miles southwest of Denver. So I live up in the woods. I live in the middle of freaking nowhere. So,
that can be good.
I like it.
Yeah, I was gonna say that can be good for a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Yep. So anyway, as per my in my email, what do you guys think about the chances of there being civil unrest post-election in the United States, and what type of unrest do you think it will be?
Well, like I mentioned on a couple of these things, we've already seen civil unrest in the United States.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I have no reason to think that will be alleviated by the outcome of the election, regardless of what it is. So I tend to think it'll get worse. To what extent it gets worse and how much, who's to say? I think that a lot of that'll be depending on the area, things like that. I think it'll be mostly in city centers and stuff where it's already happening. But yeah, I definitely think it gets worse, and I think everyone should hopefully have an ability to not have to go out a lot for at least a week or two after the election, if possible, to eliminate the chances of just be able to avoid it completely. Because like I said, back when we had the first coronavirus stuff and there's these huge long lines at Costco, we never really got to the point where anyone, even non-preppers, were going without food completely. They might have run low on toilet paper or something, or run out of certain kinds of food. But just the ability to avoid that shit show is a huge benefit, because you never know what's going to happen. And if it gets a little bit worse, then fights could break out or something like that. So just the ability to stay back from these situations and just kind of chill out at your house without needing to go to the store and stuff, I think is a huge advantage. So.
Okay. What about you, Logic? What do you think? I mean, I know you're in Canada, but what do you see? I mean, because you have a bit of a different perspective. So what would you think would happen? What would be your perspective?
Oh, thanks for joining us first off. It's nice to meet you.
Oh, no problem. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me, guys. I really appreciate it.
Unprecedented time, bringing in a viewer just like this off the, you're the first one. So we're setting a precedent.
Inaugural.
Yeah.
I'm the first victim.
Cool. First victim. It's speculation at best, really. I mean, I'm more along the lineage of thought of what Eric was suggesting. I'm probably going to see the same outburst. It's not going to happen in rural areas. It's going to happen in the more populated areas. We're going to see more idiocy. There's definitely, irrespective of post-election, there's just people tearing down statues. I mean, we say the song and dance every week. It's just, that's sort of inevitable. I think the only thing I'd be concerned about would be a more organized civil unrest. And that would probably start the form of, again, speculation, maybe some sort of unified or ubiquitous dates for BLM or other organizations say, okay, November 21st, we're all doing this, and it's chaos day or whatever.
Right.
That would make me a little bit more concerned, because it would almost be like a collective anarchy, multiple cities at the same time, as opposed to these micro eruptions happening everywhere. I'm not too concerned. National Guard's going to, if things got out of hand that bad, that widespread, of course, National Guard's going to come in. But it's very entertaining as a Canadian. It's very entertaining. That's not, I know it sounds bad, but people are morons. It's not just in the U.S. It's all over the world, but it's kind of especially in the U.S. No offense with some of the stuff they're doing out there right now. No offense to the Americans watching.
What groups? Back to Eric. What groups do you think would be most likely to create unrest if the election were to go one way or the other? Doesn't matter. But what group do you think would be the most likely to cause the biggest problems, cause the greatest unrest?
I think the same ones that are causing it now. You have like Antifa or all these various far left groups, I think would be more likely than far right groups. The far right groups up to this point have seemed mostly reactive to that stuff. They're not going out and doing all these so-called protests. They might do a counter protest or something and get into it with these guys, but it doesn't seem like typically that they start it and just try to burn down random buildings and whatnot. So that would be my guess, the same sort of groups that are doing stuff now. These like left anarchist groups, communist groups, probably more specifically. Yeah, so Antifa for the most part.
Okay, Logic?
Same answer. I mean, it's going to be...
Same answer?
Well, I mean, what other groups are there that have such a massive influence? So it's going to be some sort of spin-off. If it's not BLM or Antifa, then it's the 10% of Antifa that, they call them the Black Hornets. Insert your crazy underground nickname there.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Again, speculation, but there's no
what
other...
do you think? Okay. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead. What's your question?
Oh, no. I was going to say, do you think that there would be, say, if Trump were to lose, do you think that we might see unrest coming from those who support him, like the Proud Boys or any other groups that have been out, 3%ers, anything like that. What do you think the
I
possibility
don't
of
know.
that would be?
I think it's largely, sure. I think that largely is going to be based on whether or not the reaction from the far lefts. I don't think the far right are going to come out and start raising havoc. I don't know. Generally speaking, Republicans and conservatives just want to be left alone. They don't want to bother anybody or create any sort of chaos. I mean, look what's happening right now at the madness. I made a video about this not too long ago, suggesting that most preppers are, we're just kind of looking at the actions of Antifa, or the 10% minority of Antifa that's gone batshit crazy or bonkers. And we're looking at it in awe, these irrational, tearing down statues and doing all these irrational things. There's not a lot of proactivity or reaction from the right that I can see, with the exception of, I think if there was a mark or a starting point, it would probably be that St. Louis couple that basically said, you know what, fuck this. These people are, a little bit crazy. They're buddy with his AR-15 outside his property with his wife. They don't want to hurt anybody, but you know what? If you feel threatened, you have to do what you have to do.
Right.
So I'm not sure if that answers your question or not, but I just don't see the right reacting aggressively if Trump loses. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't.
I
It's
mean,
largely going to depend on.
Yeah, with any of these confrontations, it takes two to tango, as they say. But it always seems like it's the physical confrontations are initiated by the far left, at least to a large extent. So, if not exclusively.
Well,
but who's to say? There's always crazy people on both sides. So it doesn't take too many to fly off the rails and do something crazy. But in terms of numbers, if there is widespread civil unrest in the country, I suspect it will be just like it's been for the past year, and it'll be mostly exclusively from the far left.
Okay.
Is there some kind of group, Colorado Biker, that you're not like? Are you privy to something else that we aren't?
No, not at all.
BLM. Who else would it be if it isn't those two?
Yeah, I wouldn't know. I was just wondering who you think would be most likely. And back on that same note, what would your advice to be to those with a preparedness mindset? What would be the things that you would want to get and you prepare for? What things are you get other than the regular food, security, water, things like that?
Well, let's pause
in
right
case
there.
Something like that happens.
Fair enough. Let's start with you. We've answered your questions. The third one. Sure. Answer this question for us.
Yeah. What have you been doing to prepare for these?
Actually, I've been getting some dental work done. I've been getting some medical stuff taken care of, that if things become unavailable, that I need to get done beforehand. I think that's, really important. A couple medications that I take, I've gotten some extra put back just in case, so that I have very long-term ability to take those. It's nothing life-threatening or anything like that. I've been looking at making sure that all of my vehicles, like today, I spent 6 hours today where I got an old Toyota Land Cruiser FJ40. I just rebuilt the entire steering system in the past 2 days. I've been making sure that my generator, I just rebuilt my generator. I'm making sure that my equipment is in tip-top, is in good shape. It's going to work when I need it, if I need it. That would be one of the things that, because I've been prepping for 20 odd years. I'm set when it back around. I've always kind of been like that, just because my family were settlers in western Nebraska. They were homesteaders, and they always had lots of food. They had a whole basement of their farmhouse. It was just, there was one room. There's just shelves of preserved food. They always had a huge garden. They had enough to get through for years without food. And my great-grandparents, my grandparents, they lived through the Great Depression, and they survived. They saved their farm through that. So that was always kind of, it was always kind of in the background of everything, is just make sure you got yourself covered. Be able to take care of yourself, because if you can take care of yourself, you can take care of those that are important to you, your friends and family. So, but I'd say right around the time I went away to college, that's when I was like, no, I really need to have a go bag just in case something happens. You know, we're talking.
Wise words.
30,
Wise word.
yeah,
Let's bring
30
this full
years ago.
circle to the original topic idea.
Yeah.
Maybe Eric can complement with a follow-up question, which is, you never answered the questions that we answered. We'll go back to the first one, which is, what do you think is going to happen with respect to the possibility of a civil unrest post USA, post November 3rd?
I think that there can be, yeah, I think that there could be isolated. I don't see widespread. I do see isolated pockets of it that are going to happen, like you said, primarily in the major cities, but there are going to be some other places, moderate-sized cities that, yes, we're going to see the same thing. Now, it doesn't matter who wins or loses, we're going to see chaos regardless, just because of the divisive nature of the rhetoric that has been flying around in our media and in our popular culture for the past 4, 5, 10 years even. It's gotten really bad. So I mean, the media has just gotten really bad. So for that, yeah, I think that we may see some. And in the larger cities, and particularly those with more active groups, places like Portland, Seattle, San Francisco, Chicago, New York, places like that, we are going to see more of that. Now, what I also see, though, is that when that does start to occur, we are going to see other groups start to come out, the 3%ers, Proud Boys, a lot of the other people that are on the opposite side of the political spectrum. Like you said, they're going to respond to it. And I think that is a recipe for disaster, because I can just see it exacerbating things and things getting way out of control really quickly, particularly in some cities. Because when the shooting starts, it's going to get crazy. You know, it might not even be shooting. I hope it isn't. I mean, I really hope none of this transpires.
That's a great title for a new Doomsday Prepper episode. When the shooting starts,
yeah, when the shooting starts.
Crazy.
Yep. Yeah, it is.
Eric.
Maybe I should. Yeah. Hey, I should use that one. I should do it. Anyway, but yeah, that's my take on it. I think that it won't be one-sided. I believe that it'll get started by one side or the other, regardless of who does it. But one side will respond to the other, and it will just exacerbate. It will start to snowball, and it will spread from city to city to city. And once that starts to happen, and we've seen this time and time again in a lot of political conflicts throughout the world and throughout history, throughout 500 years of history. So that's one of my main concerns, yes.
So. Interesting prediction, that's for sure.
Yeah. Sure.
Eric, what says you? You've been quiet for a while.
Oh, yeah, no, yeah, I answered that question already, so I tend to agree for the most part.
No, I didn't mean like to answer that question specifically.
Yeah.
You know what? If you're just joining us, we should probably give the show this whole segment.
Sure, yeah.
40 minutes in here. If you're just joining us, we've got a gentleman named Colorado Biker Prepper. I've never met him before. I think we're connected on Facebook. And somebody with that name connected with me on Facebook a few months ago, 5-6 months ago.
I've watched Eric. Yeah, I've watched Eric for a long time. We've actually talked before too.
Yeah, I recognize the
name. Shows, stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Cool. You've got your own channel. You want to give it a plug there, Colorado?
Yeah. Well, I'm not on Twitter. I'm not on anything else. I just do have a YouTube channel, and it is Colorado Biker Prepper. So
why don't you put it in the chat window?
Yeah, drop it in the chat, and people can check you out.
Drop it in the chat.
Okay. I'll do that here in a bit. Yeah, but I do prepping videos, but I also do a lot of other stuff. I used to be a professional chef. So there's some cooking videos. I got a drone. So there's some drone videos, some four-wheeling stuff, and a lot of motorcycling stuff. So, because I am a very avid biker. So I love riding. So, and that's actually my profession. I am a professional motorcycle tour guide. So,
cool.
Yeah. But yeah, but Colorado Biker Prepper, just do a YouTube search for it, and I've got tons of videos. So thank you very much.
Yeah, appreciate you joining us.
Oh, thanks for having me. It's great.
No sweat. Yeah, we might bring you back on in the future, bring other people on in the future. It seemed to work out pretty well for our inaugural impromptu guest.
Yeah, so, it's okay so far. Yeah.
Well, it hasn't hurt too much so far.
Yeah, right.
It hasn't been too bad.
You sound like a decent guy and level-headed for sure. So
Well,
it's a
thank you.
pleasure to have you on. Thank you for
Yep.
entertaining this.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. Maybe I'll do this as a regular segment because it well, me and Eric have to talk, but this is kind of a cool thing just to bring on random
Right.
people from the internet
Yeah, exactly.
Bring it
that
on.
we've never met that are preppers. But if there was one piece of advice you could give, when I say segments, this is something I'll ask everybody moving forward because I think the audience could definitely benefit. What's your number one prepping advice that you would give to, not to me or Eric necessarily? Just think of if you could, through your years of preparedness and your grandparents and great grandparents going through the Great Depression and all you've done for the past 20 years, what number one or top three things can you convey or would you convey or transcend to our audience to say, look, it really comes down to ABC or XYZ?
Okay. You want one or you want three?
Whatever you want. I
Yeah.
actually
One
elaborate.
to three, whatever you
Hey,
think.
all right.
I would say
We
three
all right, I
because
hope you got a couple
sometimes
hours.
maybe one is yeah. Go for whatever
Okay.
you
Well,
want. Or
let
two.
me start.
Or four.
Okay. Let me start with one of the first ones that I think is very important when it comes to not only prepping but just having a mindset and in general and just in life really is your epistemology, your ability to determine fact from opinion. There's a lot of people down there that get into prepping and they get down one rabbit hole and they focus on something that is highly unlikely, completely nuts, and they only concentrate on one thing. And I think that is a very dangerous thing because if you don't look at the information that you're getting and examine it critically, how do you know if you're preparing for the right thing? It's like someone preparing for aliens, well, the likelihood of that is incredibly small, okay, minuscule, almost non-existent. But for me, preparing for a blizzard where I'm going to be home for 3 weeks, can't get out of my place for 3 weeks, that's realistic. A hurricane, natural disasters, things like that. But people do tend to get too focused on one thing because their information is typically biased. People also fall into a lot of confirmation bias. They only want to look at information that supports their position and is not critical of it. So that's one big thing that I've seen in a lot of prepper groups and in a lot of prepper mindset is they tend to get one-sided, whether it be politically, socially, things like that. So remain skeptical, I think is what I'm saying. Even of your own position. Am I doing the right thing? Is my information right? And am I prepping for the right thing? So that I think is really one of the best things to keep in the forefront of your mind, regardless of what the situation is or what you're prepping for. Is what is my information and is it reliable? What's the likelihood of it being wrong? What's the likelihood of my position being wrong? Because it could be. And if so, how do I need to adjust how I prepare? So I think that's really important because with that mindset, that affects everything else you do in being prepared. Your
True.
security, your food, your water, everything.
Yeah, if you pigeonhole yourself into preparing for one specific event, regardless of how likely or unlikely it is, but especially if it's unlikely, then that could really affect your ability to be ready for the stuff that's actually going to happen. So real world stuff, like we just talked about the fires, you talked about the blizzard, like I'm always push the real world stuff. And by taking care of the real world stuff, not only is that more likely, but that'll get you most of the way there for all the crazy stuff too. If aliens did attack or whatever, you'll still have the food, water, the self-defense, like all that stuff that you would need in an alien invasion or whatever else you already have taken care of, but it'll be oriented towards the more realistic stuff. Make sure you have a generator if you're worried about power outages, all that sort of stuff too. So good point.
Definitely some commonalities in if it's aliens or it's a tsunami or whatever, there are some basics for sure. Food, fire, water, shelter, as we say, but very good point. And I'd like to compliment what you were suggesting there with just how many preppers I've met over the years that they prep for one event or they prep for multiple events, the big stuff, but they neglect the very, very basic things like changing the 9-volt battery in their smoke alarm.
Right. Or having a first aid kit in their car or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, and on that same note, it's also be critical of people that are around you and who you associate with. I've been asked to join several groups, and it's just because, one, I really don't like. I have a network of close friends and everything that I'm going to work with if something were to happen. But I've also gone to meetups, I've gone to other groups, and I've seen them. And yeah, there's some batshittery out there, man. There's some crazy, and be very careful and examine the people that you associate with too, because when things get to a very stressful situation, can they be reliable? Do they have good sound judgment? Or are they worried about the aliens coming? While there's actually some other more pressing, life-threatening issue going on. So, but it's not just that, but are these people that you can agree with, that you can get along with long-term, not just short-term, that match your morality and ideology? Because conflict within a group, anytime that you have that, can cause serious problems, extreme problems in some cases, and can actually endanger you more than the actual event itself that's going on.
Gentlemen, I'm going to grab a drink. Eric, you want to take over the floor for a
Sure,
second?
absolutely.
For the rest of the show. I'll be right back.
So, important question: what type of bike you riding?
2016 Harley Davidson road bike.
Nice.
But I'll ride anything with 2 wheels and a motor.
Right on. I sold my Harley before I came out here to Vegas because I was like, oh, I'll buy one when I get out there. And we already had 3 vehicles that we were taking out here. So I was like, I'd either have to drive it or trailer it. And I was like, oh, let's buy it. And I haven't bought a new one yet. And now I'm like really fiending. I need to get one bad. I can't go any longer.
Yeah, actually, I'm saving up some money right now. I got a buddy of mine down in Colorado Springs who bought, 6 or 7 years ago, he's going to be moving in the next year. And he bought a Hayes diesel technology Kawasaki KLR 650. And it's a dual sport on-road, off-road bike. But the Hayes diesel technologies made a diesel engine for it.
It's a diesel bike?
It's a diesel motorcycle. It was
never heard of it.
It was originally designed for the U.S. Marine Corps as a scout motorcycle for their scouts. And it gets about 100 miles to a gallon.
I was going to say, that would be like a good prepper bike.
That's why I'm getting it.
Yeah, diesel dual sport. You could run it off Che's vegetable oil or biofuels and stuff.
Exactly. I can run off of biofuels, anything. It gets 100, anywhere between 90 to 110 miles to the gallon. It has a 6.2 gallon tank on it.
Wow, that's a big tank too.
Well, that's why. Well, the KLR 650 has always had a pretty damn big tank. It's a stock tank.
Oh wow, I didn't know they were that big.
Yeah, there's 2 different models. So
I had an 883 for a while that had like a 1.5 gallon peanut tank.
Oh yeah, peanut tank.
Yeah,
I hated that fucking peanut tank.
It didn't have the odometer, that didn't have the gas gauge either. So you just had to go by your odometer.
By your mileage,
I was just always like, oh, I better get some gas. Oh, I better get some gas.
even on my bike, I never trust the gas gauge. I just go by mileage. Yeah. But anyway, I'm saving up to buy that. He's going to sell it. He said he's going to hold it and sell it to me. He's just got about 30,000 miles on it. It's a 2006, I think.
I'll take a look at that.
I'd have to look at his email again. Oh, it's if you look it up, you'll see it and you'll be like, holy crap. It's horrible pickup. I've ridden it once. I actually went down and rode it with him.
Yeah.
And it has horrible pickup. I mean,
really?
it barely gets going. But once it does, and it has torque. It has some serious torque. So,
what's up, JJ? It looks like JJ dropped in. Yeah, sorry.
Hey, JJ.
What's up? Welcome back. In case you hadn't been watching, we decided to do an impromptu, bring someone in from the chat to onto the live stream. Something we might do again in the future.
Colorado Biker.
Well so far. Yeah, Colorado Biker Prepper has been a long time viewer and a commenter. So
thank you. and Eric, if you don't mind, just going to interject quickly here. Colorado, I thank you very much for joining us. I have to give homage to JJ. So I think we're gonna give you 30 seconds to give yourself a plug.
Yeah.
All right.
And,
Yeah, no problem.
We got to focus on JJ because he is the man.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
yeah,
just
absolutely.
Shout out your channel one more time and appreciate you coming on.
Well, thank you very much for having me. I love coming on. I love watching you guys. I try and watch you whenever I can catch it. Sometimes I got to work, sometimes I don't. So
that goes. I appreciate it.
Whenever I do, I jump in the chat and I make a few snarky, smart-ass comments.
He can stay on. We don't have to. He don't have to get off.
It's all good. We'll do it.
Well, I'll just hang out and I'll let you concentrate on JJ for a minute. So, but once again, Colorado Biker Prepper on YouTube. Just Colorado Biker Prepper, all one word. So
awesome.
Anyway, I'll take a chill here for a minute. I gotta use the restroom.
All right. Thank you. Thanks for joining us. Cool.
So what's going on?
I don't know, man. You tell us. You're the one who's been gone for 6 months.
6 months. It was like a bad, I don't know. Get bumped into my ex-girlfriend at the coffee shop or something.
Right.
I might have. I might have.
I'm joking. You've been busy.
Oh my God! I mean, it's moving your whole life halfway across the country is it's an undertaking, that's for sure, and it's been a process, but we're finally here and we're set up 80% of the way. I mean, most of the way. So
awesome.
This is our little. It's like a bonus room above.
Looks like you're in the attic.
Yeah, it's almost kind of what it is. Yeah, and so there's a couple of windows back there, and then it's like you may hear some background noise from our living room because
we're good. Give us an update. So for people that don't know, JJ, please feel free to correct me. I think it's been 7 months.
So we moved from Wyoming to Indiana, and so we're in like kind of southeast rural Indiana, about an hour outside of Indianapolis, and got a little place down here with just under 10 acres. Got a little pond and a little shop, and it's in the woods. We got trees, actually. We didn't have any trees.
I know, right? It's grass.
But, yeah, so we got some trees, and actually we kind of went from one extreme to the other. We've got so many trees. I've been running through the chainsaw chains pretty quick, cutting down some trees to make space, because the way they had this place laid out, you could pull in, and if you have a small car, small vehicle, it's no big deal to turn around, but like bigger trucks and like FedEx trucks and all that kind of stuff, barely have any room to turn around.
Really?
So I'm cutting in a circle drive and making a place for the trailers to sit and all that kind of stuff. And
you should suspend some of the logs so you can cut some ropes and they'll fall in front of the driveway if you need to.
Well, there's plenty of trees, man. There's plenty of trees, and it's the old name of this place was Hardwood Ridge, and it's all a bunch of hardwoods. So there's tons of huge ash trees and all that kind of stuff. If I needed to keep people from getting back here, it'd be pretty easy to do.
Awesome.
So yeah. So how you guys been doing, man? I have been so busy. I haven't had a chance to watch or see really very much. I've caught the tail end of a couple, but
just rocking in the free world. You know how it is.
Yeah. I think that, I'm not sure what you guys have said about COVID and all that, but I'm starting to believe after the latest information that I saw from the CDC that it's quite possible that this may have been one of the largest hoaxes ever to be perpetrated on a civilization ever. It's
very least overreaction.
Yeah.
If not an outright hoax. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, I shouldn't say hoax. Yeah, that's not the right word. It's more of a
fraud. Yeah. It's like a bogus.
Yeah. The situation has been manipulated so badly, just to try to make Trump look bad. I think, all these Democratic governors and everything they're just trying to make it seem worse than it is. But the most recent thing I saw from the CDC said that, for anybody under the age of 80, that you have, it's like a 99.993 survival rate.
The average age of death was the average age of death was above the average life expectancy or something like that. So it's like, it doesn't even count. They already beat the odds.
and they're already trying to ramp up this talk about a second wave and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, this is insane because, I mean, if you're under 70, it's like 4 decimal places. Like, I mean, you know,
it's just not even
3 or something. It's
right.
really insane to me that this has gone on this long and this bad and everything. I don't know. I'm kind of freaked out by it because I don't normally believe in conspiracies and all this kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Like I
right.
try to debunk a lot of that crap.
What's okay? So now where are we going here?
No, I'm just saying it's just I think that it's basic. I mean, from what that paper was saying, it's essentially, you know, if you're under 80 years old,
no, dude, I hear you. It's basically
what's less deadly than the flu.
So with that said, do you believe there's some sort of ulterior motive for something else? We introduce.
I think the ulterior motive.
You know, the NBA stops, hockey stops, like the world literally paused.
Yeah.
What do you think happened? Because now not that I think you're not a conspiracy theory type of guy, not at all. But one has to wonder if this was all it wasn't done for fun. There's 3 Chinese businessmen sitting around a jacuzzi laughing about this. There's probably some sort of bigger picture going on with something else.
I think what happened is that I think China overreacted because they feared that it was going to make them look bad, and the rest of the world, including probably us 3 and everybody else that's watching, saw China's reaction and thought, holy cow, this is crazy. Started looking at some of the initial information, and some of the initial information was far, far worse than what we have actually seen come to pass. And then I think that then politics got involved once they saw that it was going to be an emergency that they could do something with. Then the governors, especially of the more liberal states, started using this as a way to get additional federal funding. I mean, you look at the amount of money that was passed it's 3 times larger than the 2008 bailout bill, right? So they got all kinds of stuff in there that they wanted. And I think that they're basically holding people hostage, trying to make them feel miserable and placing this blame on Trump. They're thinking that it's going to transfer from them to Trump or whatever. And I don't think it's going to, but I think I think they didn't have anything else to lose. And so I really believe it's been a political game more than anything. And that is unbelievable. Like it, and I that's just my feeling on it. You know, I don't really know.
What's weird is that you definitely see normal people overreacting. Like they obviously aren't doing it to enact some sort of larger agenda, and they're still like scared of it. They think it's all like, oh, I need to wear the mask, and you're a terrible person if you don't. So it's possible it's just some weird freaking hive mind thing that kicked in, and everyone just lost their mind. But it's definitely bizarre because
I think it's turned into just a total virtue signal at this point.
Right.
It's the mask may as well say I'm a rule follower. You know what I'm saying? Like it just right across your face, like, oh, I'm not breaking the rules. You know what I mean? Like I don't wear the mask unless I have to, unless it places, like going in to eat. Like this is the stupidest thing. You go in to eat and you wear it into the table, and then you can and then sit there with your mouth and chewing on it.
Yeah, you have your whole table there, but then if you get up to go to the bathroom, then you better cover it real quick or something, or the 6 feet between the door and your table, you better have the mask on. And if the food isn't there, it makes absolutely zero. Like and I've said this before on our chats here, but regardless of the actual danger of the disease, these policies are totally ineffective. Even if the mask worked, like 100%, this thing blocks all the virus. The way that these rules are set up, it wouldn't do anything.
Right.
And the fact that they don't probably really have that good of an effect, especially when it's just a surgical mask and stuff like that. It's not actually filtering anything.
What they're saying is that they've pretty well, most of the folks have pretty well come out and said that it's airborne, right? That it's fairly infectious and that it's airborne. And if that's the case, you can't. you can't be sitting there stuffing your face at the table for an hour and a half and not expect that to wander over to the next, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
like it doesn't come out when you're slopping away the steak or
Yeah.
something, but if you're just walking to the bathroom, then it all swarms out of you.
But the stupid part about it is, though, is so what if it's airborne? Because it really doesn't kill anybody that
Right.
is healthy, or
That's
not that it doesn't.
the big reveal thing, is that regardless of any of the else, all the evidence now points to it just not being that serious. And that's what's so crazy to me, is that everyone back when we thought it might be serious and all the evidence pointed to the fact that it could be very serious, no one gave a shit. That's when they're telling you the masks don't work. And then when all the evidence now says, actually, luckily, this thing isn't very serious at all, now that's when, oh, you have to wear a mask, you do this, you're a bad person. And then it's like, how can you be that? That's a lot of like cognitive dissonance, I think. I'm not sure what's going on with
I
that.
think that's the right word for it. I think it is. Honestly, I think most of our society is having a hard time with this thing. And I don't know, man. It's really one of the strangest things that I've ever seen in my lifetime. I mean, this whole way the whole situation was handled.
It's a fascinating time that we're living in right now. It's just this really unique time for preppers. We definitely had our aha moment, or it was very validating for a lot of preppers when
for sure
things started to unroll. It's like, hey, we were right. We stockpiled because we don't know what's going to happen. And yes, I agree. Like Eric, I overreacted because I didn't know. I mean, they shut down the fucking NBA and hockey. Like they
shut down the world.
Right. It's not an overreaction when you don't know what you're up against. It just turns out that it wasn't a danger. We said, okay, great. It's not even that dangerous anymore. But that's what I'm saying. It's so weird, is that all the people who are overreacting now didn't do anything when the information was actually concerning. Now that all the information shows that you shouldn't worry at all, now they want to do all this stuff. It's like, that's what's so bizarre. Yeah.
It's really weird. It's quite strange. I think, though, that what's interesting about the situation we're in is that I'm completely of the mindset, whereas we should have just followed what Sweden did and just let it run. And
well, for the audience, I'm sure most users know, but what did Sweden
so essentially do? from the get-go, the people in Sweden decided to essentially allow people to make their decision on what they wanted to do with their businesses and all those kinds of things, but they didn't mandate any shutdowns or anything like that.
No mask mandates or anything.
Yeah, no mask mandates. They didn't do anything that was draconian in really any way, and they pretty much just let the disease run through. And they saw a spike in deaths, and there was some initial sick people and all that kind of stuff, but just like pretty much in China and elsewhere, there's about a 4-month period where it goes up and it gets bad, and then it starts to come back down and level off, and then things go back to normal.
Very risky, and according to some people, just let it burn through. Essentially, with respect to what Sweden did. What do you think? If you don't mind, we'll shift the conversation here. We're talking about the election. I don't think we got your answer on this, or maybe it's changed since we've last spoken, but maybe we haven't asked you at all. But who do you think is going to win the U.S. election? Or is this something you don't want to?
No, I'll comment. I mean, my gut feeling is that Trump is going to win by a landslide, and that the Republicans are going to take back the House and the Senate. Because I don't think people are that stupid. Like, I think that they see through all the bullshit that's happening in all the liberal states and everywhere. And the mass exodus out of New York and California speaks volumes. They're literally leaving by the freaking tens of thousands, as fast as they can get out of the places. And so I think that translates into a pretty massive win and a change in the direction of the country. Now, what happens after that? Man, some of the patrons on Patreon have asked me to talk about this, and I haven't really been able to come up with anything really great, because ultimately, with all the crap that's going on this year, I don't know what's going to happen, man. I have no idea. I think it's pretty much a certainty that between election time and inauguration time, you're going to see a lot of violence in the cities. It's just going to get worse. There's probably going to be, if I had to guess, 5 to maybe up to 10 big cities that are going to experience pretty continual rioting and destruction. I don't think it'll be any bigger than that. I don't think they have the numbers to do any more than that. But I think it'll be a pretty sustained campaign for a while. It seems clear to me that the Democrats are prepared for and expecting Trump to win. And so they're going to try to challenge it somehow legally, with all this mail-in ballots and all this kind of stuff. I don't know that we'll know who actually won by inauguration time. Honestly, I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, that depends. I mean, if there's going to be a large margin of victory, I think you would have to know pretty quickly. If it's going to be close, then it could certainly get dragged out by all these mail-in ballots and stuff. But if enough of the results come in on election night, it could certainly be enough of a possibility that it just wouldn't matter what the result of the unread mail ballots are, that they still are like, okay. But
yeah, I mean, it would have to, and I did say landslide, but I guess it would have to be a pretty healthy margin, because, in these swing states, it seems to me that, I mean, they're going to be able to find ballots.
I know, that's what I'm worried about. Well, so far they've found them in dumpsters and everything else, but they've seen even Trump won Florida with like 100,000 votes or something when the voter registration pre-election, the margins, they were behind, like they had 100,000 or 200,000 less. And for the first time in history, the Republicans have actually beat the Democrats with new voter registration.
Oh, cool.
And he already won with 100,000 votes when they didn't. So it could be a sign of a pretty solid swing in states like that.
I hope so. I mean, because if Biden, it's weird. I think that the localized violence in the cities will be worse if Trump wins in the short term.
For sure.
But I think he'll stamp that down pretty quickly. I think if the governors don't, then I think he'll be prepared. In his last term, he's got nothing to lose. He'll squash that probably pretty quickly. Once everything is settled in the courts and all that. But if Biden wins, and if they take the Senate, the Democrats take the Senate, then that's a whole other really scary scenario that in long term really worries the hell out of me, because Biden probably is only going to do about 90 days before Kamala ends up taking over. I mean, honestly, I really do believe that. I don't even think he'll do a year. I really don't.
No, I don't think so.
If he served a full year, I'd be really surprised.
I think he thinks that too. In his mind, he thinks that, and he's voting for Harris, saying, "Okay, this is who I want to be president, because I'm not going to make it for 4 years."
Yeah. If he did, it would be in name only. Like they would just prop him up somewhere and be like, "They're there. Turn on your cartoons." Well, they just make decisions for him, even if they didn't officially kick him out. I think it might actually be better for them to have someone be like, "Oh, he's president," and them just be able to do whatever they want in the background. While they prop him up once a week.
There must be some degree of, I don't know much about U.S. politics, but I suspect there would be some sort of clause for an intervention through the Senate.
Yeah, the 25th Amendment, right?
20.
Is it? I don't know. Which is,
if they're actually incapacitated, you can
incompetence through whatever circumstance happened, that there's some sort of removal policy.
Yeah, there is, and it's honestly, you could probably throw in a few YouTube videos of all the shit that he said in a loop, and that's going to be sufficient to show
that link, the hairy legs video.
Oh man,
I think I sent it to you guys. Somebody made a video with Biden. They took some of the clips like you're suggesting, Jenny, and they made like a horror movie thriller around it with the music and the shades of black going in, and it's just Biden talking. All he's doing is talking. And it's called, you got to Google that, folks. It's fantastic. It's very, very funny. And it looks like a horror movie. And it's actually kind of scary with Biden. Yeah.
He's a creepy.
Anyways,
dude, for sure.
Yeah.
This is great to have you tonight. It's nice to see you.
Welcome back.
What's next for JJ? What's next on the
Just
agenda?
more work. I still have a mountain of work ahead of me and getting this place squared away. The people that lived here didn't do a ton of preventative maintenance and those kinds of things. And so like tonight I was installing a new stove, and there's just a ton of things to do to get the house squared away and ready to go. The good news is that we have awesome neighbors. All of them are very much into self-reliance and that kind of thing. And I even was speaking with the neighbors today. They want to get a communication network kind of going and all that kind of stuff.
Awesome.
That way everybody can be in touch if there was any issues and all that. And so super, super happy about that. I mean, it's we just got really, really good folks out here. So I think it's we're in a really good location as far as that goes. So
That's awesome. Other than that, like immediate neighbors, how you like in the area, Indiana?
It's pretty standard Midwestern cities, I mean, and that kind of thing. I mean, I work in Northwest Indianapolis, just outside the loop. And so my only real interaction in going into the city is just going to work. But what's nice about this particular city is there's like 4 or 5 freeways here.
Nice.
So
You don't
yeah,
have one clogged up main one.
yeah, it's
going
not
in.
just one, backed up area. There's like multiple different ways and routes that you can get around, and traffic seems to flow really well here. I was passed by a sheriff's deputy doing 15 miles an hour over the other day. So they don't really worry about speeding too much, I don't think. Because people drive here, like, I mean, it's crazy to me. Like the speed limit will be 25 or 55, and they're doing like 70, 75, 80. And that's like the flow of traffic. Like coming from Cheyenne, where if you're doing 5 over, it's like you're making waves, because nobody's in a hurry in Cheyenne. It's crazy because the traffic just runs. I mean, it's crazy, but yeah, it's good. It's good so far. I mean, like I said, the environment is great as far as things growing and having trees and not having 50 or 60 mile an hour winds. It's nice,
Yeah.
So,
With that said, Mark Olson has a question, JJ. Have you adjusted your get home bag to the new location? I'm not too sure what that means exactly, but maybe as a result of being in a new environment, there's different resources, a lot of more trees on your property. I think it's probably, yeah.
I have not yet because it's still sitting in my garage. I haven't even got it in my truck yet. Yeah, so it's been
anything
hectic.
popped out?
What's that?
Just, maybe anything popped out at you where maybe there's, I don't know, there's distance between work and home, and maybe there's water resources that are abundant. So maybe that's less of a priority, water purification or bottled water in your vehicle or whatnot.
Yeah, it's mostly it would be probably the biggest thing that I'll change if I do adjust something is I'm probably going to look at like a folding bicycle or a folding e-bike if I could find one of those or something along those lines, just because of the distance that I drive. So I'm it's about a 50-minute commute. And having a bike would be the fastest way to cut that down, pretty quickly. So, and there's plenty of alternate routes that I can go that aren't on the freeway and all that kind of stuff. So that's not a problem, but just the time that it would take would be the biggest factor, whereas in Cheyenne, my work was, well, the office was close. And sometimes when I was way out there, I would be a couple hours away, but it was easy terrain, easy travel. And, out there's no real restrictions or difficulties as far as that goes. You can just walk across fields out there,
Right.
direct as the crow flies. But here, that's not the case. You pretty much have to follow roads and all those kinds of things. So probably a bike would be the biggest change that I would like to consider anyway.
Cool.
Yeah, I don't have the chat up this evening, so I can't really
Oh
see.
yeah. No
Eric,
worries.
you want to get the next one here from whatever this
Let
interesting
me see.
username?
I
Whatever
lost
it
my
takes.
chat for a second. Let's see what we got. It says, would
Well,
you
tell you what.
recommend
Yes.
strength training if shit the fan? Would it help? Hell yeah, it would help. I always recommend people do significant physical training, and strength training specifically, I think, is amazing. It also has tons of health benefits. Everything, bone density, pretty much every biomarker you can measure improves with strength training. So obviously, you want to make sure you have relatively good cardiovascular fitness as well for like jogging or hiking and sprinting, stuff like that. Definitely want to do some strength training, body weight training too.
Are you? I just have to comment, Eric. Are you in the Boogaloo?
Everyone's saying that it's just I
Boogaloo-
just like
Boogaloo
these
shirt?
shirts, man. I mean,
What's going on
sure if the Boogaloo happens, I'll go ahead and throw one of these on. But that wasn't the. It's not a dog whistle.
You're not dog whistling or
No, it's just one of my
signaling that
shirts.
You're a member of the Boog Boys or whatever.
No, just American Eagle shirt.
Gonna make this a regular thing.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna have to do it every time just to see if everyone drives everyone crazy. Get increasingly more outrageous
shows you where the
shirts.
mindset of where the users are going. They're not even listening to what we're saying. They're looking at what you're wearing. Hey, cool shirt, man. Cool
Yeah.
shirt. I've got to. Well, I agree with Eric. I mean, with respect to the question, JJ, we'll get your take on this too after. The question again was, would you recommend strength training? Sure, any kind of training, cardiovascular, anything you do physically to benefit yourself. Benefit yourself physically is good. The only thing I would suggest, maybe after or immediately after, is, well, there's a show I can't talk about. I signed something where people were alone. And it was maybe the second season where I was flown out to New York in consideration of being on it. And that was one strategy, was to like literally fatten yourself up because just so your body's going to burn through it anyways. So, maybe for the first few weeks or month in a disaster, it depends. It's very, very specific on multiple factors. But if you had to lay low, maybe having some excess fat going into the winter would be a good thing, because that you would be burning off that fat anyways. So
yeah,
just
I'll quote
what Eric was saying.
Yeah, to quote Mark Ripito, who's a well-known strength coach, strong people are harder to kill and more useful in general. So let that guide you.
Yeah, with obviously with muscle underneath all that fat.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's mostly about functional fitness, right? Being able to be functional and do the things that you need to do, whatever they are. That might be chopping wood for 4 hours, or might be carrying 15 gallons of water from the creek, or like in the SHTF kind of scenario. You've got to be functional, and if you're in shape and fit, then that's going to be helpful. I mean, it's certainly, I think it's one of the 4 pillars of prepping, and you have to be functional. You have to be able to do work. If you can't, then
yes, agree. Let me rephrase that. I wouldn't say necessarily have 6-pack abs,
right?
Personally, but if I knew we were going into something, then having, I guess it's for guys like us. I mean, like Eric and you, JJ. It's, I know we would have the mental capacity to do whatever needs to be done physically to get through whatever it is we have to get through. So, with that said, because we have the mental stamina. Packing on an extra 10 or 15 pounds would be beneficial to our bodies if we knew we would burn it off within the next 4 to 6 weeks. There's a question here for you specifically, JJ. This comes from another unique username, first, last. How are the rest of your family members adjusted to the move?
Good. They're doing well. Yeah. Stacy's gotten started in the real estate thing, and she's doing good there. And Tanner got a job. He's a machinist, working a CNC machine, which is kind of what he was wanting to get into. And Xander's doing school. So yeah, it's good. It's good.
Awesome.
Yeah. I don't know what else to say. I mean, we're pretty boring. Awesome. We've just been trying to get everything squared away here, But yeah, everybody's doing really well, and it's good.
Awesome.
Yeah. Awesome. So what else?
I don't know. I may have to call it here pretty
silence.
No, I may have to call it pretty
10:20. JJ.
Sorry, I got in late, guys.
No, it's all good, man.
What's you coming next week? What's the plan here?
Yeah, hopefully. We might keep it on Eric's channel for another couple weeks, just in case.
No, I was just saying, like, just to make a visit. I'll tell you what we'll do,
Yeah.
Eric. I think that Colorado biker prepper, we got to give him a shout out. He was on the show earlier. That was awesome, just having him on the show. So I think I already know we got to do this next week. Maybe we'll just do like a 10-minute segment with some random person from the audience. I think it was awesome. And then JJ, obviously your discretion. There's obviously a there's a transitional period you're going through there. If you can, great. We won't hold it to you because I know you probably have a lot on your plate right now. So it was cool, man. Just having you show up.
Yeah,
it was awesome, man.
Yep.
Cool. Well, thanks for watching, everybody.
Have you watched one last question, JJ? Have you watched? It's been 6 months. This was kind of your idea originally, just preppers shooting the shit. And I'd like to say, I came up with the name, which that'll be my little 2 cents to fame here with this whole thing that we got going. Since you took a break, have you watched any of the episodes?
No.
Out of curiosity.
Oh no, honestly, not very many.
Because we trashed you like every time. No.
Oh, that's funny.
I really haven't watched very many. I mean, like I said, I caught the tail end of a couple, and it was right as you guys were getting off. And I have not really watched a whole lot. And I kind of, after a certain point, like when I was in Cheyenne getting the house ready and everything, I just didn't have any time because
plausible deniability.
Yep.
But
all good.
But what I was going to say is that I kind of thought it would be interesting after a certain point to come back and just jump back in with you to see how things have changed and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Like just to
not much. I figured out how to do something with my background.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I noticed that green screen, huh? Green screen going. That's cool.
That's about it.
How did you do that?
There was just, I don't know. I just bumped. I was signed up. Eric sends me a link. This is how it works, ladies and gentlemen. Eric sends me a link. Like, okay, here we go. Here you go, folks. Sends it to JJ too. JJ never replies to the emails. And I clicked the link, and for whatever reason, there was this option this time, and it's like I was trying to rotate my screen, like how Eric is horizontal, because mine's always lateral. So I thought, there's a funny little icon that looks like I can do that. And it's like, hey, you want to change your background? I was like, okay. But this is new. This is only in the last couple of weeks I've been doing this. Yeah. So I don't know. It's better, it's better than a wall, I guess. A picture of a rabbit is good.
I like the wall. I think you should go back to the wall of toilet paper. That was definitely my favorite background, which is the wall of imposing bricks of toilet paper stacked up.
Yeah.
And it was like JJ, almost leaning over.
Yeah, that was good, Eric. I'll let you lead us out. But I just want to say first, JJ, it was cool to see you, man. Hope everything's well, and you started this, so
well, hopefully I can get back into it here.
Yeah, when you're ready, we'll definitely be shooting this shit some more. Be good. Looking forward to it. Thank you, people.
Yep. And thanks again, always to our viewers as usual. Check out Reality Store. Now it's RTP Tools and Gear Reviews, right? Or RSP
Tool gear and reviews. Yeah. Man, I tell you what,
back online. You got to come back and explain to people why you made that name change.
Yeah, it's fighting the algorithm. It's been working so far. So
views and stuff are up and everything. No demonetizations and everything.
I wouldn't say that the views are up a whole lot, but the revenue is probably 3 or 4 times higher.
Wow. Yeah. So it's just more ad responsive. Yeah, showing more ads and everything.
Yep. So I don't know. I mean, I was just kind of trying to experiment and all that kind of stuff, and it seems to have worked somewhat. So
maybe we can make this a launching pad for something that you're going to review. Do you have any products that you're going to get the next week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks that maybe you can say, okay, guys, I've got this. I'm going to make a new video on this, and here's what it is. You just got out of the box and give us like a 2-minute or 5-minute.
I've got several tool things that I'm looking at as far as that kind of goes, as far as just like around the shop and all that, but. Nothing too exciting really. I'm going to be getting back into the Patreon lessons, going on that here pretty soon too. But other than that, and that's the American Prepping Academy, if anybody wants to get on Patreon there. But other than that, no, it's just trying to get everything back to normal. That's really all that's going on in my world right now.
Well, man. Well, it was fun. And thanks everyone for watching. We will catch you next week.